Morning, good afternoon, good evening. I have said on this platform, and I would like to say it from the onset. Many people have misunderstood the purpose. What is the primary purpose of the opposition in Zimbabwe? Since the late 1990s, the people of Zimbabwe came to a realization that ZANU-PF was deeply entrenched. It had corrupted the state institutions like Sadc, the police, the army, and so forth, to consolidate its own stay in power. And as long as the regime is able to blatantly rig the elections, the nation was stuck with it. The nation had to decide, what are we going to do about it? There are two real options. The first one was for the nation to decide to go back and wage another liberation war to end ZANU-PF dictatorship. The alternative was, let's elect opposition members who will implement democratic reforms to end the dictatorship. I think the nation made the right choice in choosing the latter course of action. And Morgan Tsvangirai and his friends launched their party, and they called it the Movement for Democratic Change, riding on the very wave of the nation's cry for democratic change. This was to be the movement for democratic change. MDC was launched in 1999. Last year, 24 years down the line, ZANU-PF blatantly rigged the 2023 elections. So the question is to be asked, why has MDC failed to stop ZANU-PF rigging elections? After 24 years, 5 of which in the JNU. Some people don't understand that. And therefore then they fail to realize what the opposition was elected to do. I think this cartoon really summarizes it all. The Zimbabwean electorate have been incredibly ignorant and naive and gullible. And they've followed Morgan Tsvangirai and now Nelson Chamisa blindly. And the nation has suffered for it. Last year, Nelson Chamisa promised his followers that CCC would win big. And when people asked him, how are they going to win big when ZANU-PF is set to rig the elections? He turned around and told them, I have plugged all the vote rigging loopholes. There's no need to implement any meaningful reforms before the elections because I've plugged all the vote rigging loopholes. Well, he didn't. He was lying. Here is him saying just a few days before voting day, reassuring his base that he has got the elections in the bag.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifoiri. Plan yaMwari haifoiri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
Of course, he was lying. He presented to the nation that he had plugged all the vote-rigging loopholes. Hashtag God is in it. In other words, this was not Chamisa's plan. This was God's plan. And he was reassuring them that God does not fail. If God is in it, in this plan, he is the man who made the plan. And God's plan does not fail. Well, we know that ZANU-PF blatantly rigged those elections. So the question is, was this God's plan? And if it was, does that mean God's plan failed? I think one has got to accept this was never God's plan. This was just Chamisa's hare-brain plan, wrapped in the lie that God is in it. Hashtag God is in it has become one of Chamisa's biggest lies. And unfortunately, the people have believed it again and again and again, and never asked, never questioned it. Here is a video clip where Chamisa is being taken to task for some of these lies.
Ende patakasangana na Trump akatibvunza naye vakomana, mari yamuri kuda kuti nyika ifambe imari.
Serious questions were raised about your behaviour in Washington, D.C. You did see some senior people on Capitol Hill, some Congress people, but you also claimed that you'd seen Donald Trump. You claimed you had a conversation with him in which you said he asked you how much you needed to move the country forward. You told him $15 billion, and he said to you that he would provide the money if you won the election. That was not true, was it?
Sangana na Trump akatibvunza naye vakomana, mari yamuri kuda kuti nyika ifambe imari.
It was not true that you'd seen Donald Trump and that Donald Trump indicated to you that he would provide, if you won the election, $15 billion.
All those statements were said by other people, not what I said.
Akasangana na Trump akatibvunza naye vakomana, mari yamuri kuda kuti nyika ifambe imari.
Well, no, because there is a video which shows you at a rally in January back home in Zimbabwe saying that Donald Trump had pretty much promised you $15 billion. To be clear, because some people in Zimbabwe are still confused, you're now telling me you did not meet Donald Trump.
We did not.
I sincerely wish Zimbabweans had been forthcoming and questioning some of Chamisa's lies. Doesn't matter whether you're a journalist, an ordinary citizen. Human beings are supposed to be creatures of reason. And when somebody blatantly lies to you, con millions of people into participating in a flawed elections with disastrous consequences to the nation, as these elections have proven to be, in that they've only perpetuated the dictatorship. Surely, we should have been taking Chamisa to task. Here is a comment from Dr. Ibo Mandaza, in which he's taking our friend Chamisa to task. In it, Ibo is warning Chamisa that he should leave politics. I think it is sound advice. My only comment, however, is that it will fall on deaf ears. As long as Chamisa knows he has got a captive audience, followers out there, he will continue to tell people lies. He will know they will believe him. There is a real danger that come 2028, Chamisa is going to tell his ignorant and naive followers that he has a plan. Hashtag God is in it. And this plan will never fail. He will win the 2028 elections. And people will believe him. They'll participate in flawed elections. Only for ZANU-PF to blatantly rig those elections. And by their participating, gives ZANU-PF legitimacy. And we're back to where we are today. The question really is, why has the Zimbabwean electorate been so gullible? Some of the people who believed Chamisa's lie last year, for instance, that he had plugged all the vote-taking loopholes, are individuals with university qualifications, some of them, professionals in their own field, and yet they believed it. And this is not the first time they've believed it. In 2018, he told the same lie, similar lie. MDC alliances stringent measures to stop ZANU-PF rigging the elections. Of course, that was a lie. But they never questioned him. The day after the election, Chamisa was the first one to say ZANU-PF had rigged the elections. So your stringent measures did not work. Hashtag God is in it. Was that God's plan to participate in flawed elections because he have got stringent measures to stop ZANU-PF rigging the elections? And then it turns out that those stringent measures did not stop ZANU-PF rigging the elections. They were told the same lie last year, and they believed it in their millions. We should not only count the nearly 2 million who voted for Chamisa last year. We should include the 3 to 4 million Zimbabweans in the diaspora who cheered and bankrolled Chamisa's election, his participation in last year's elections. That is the tragedy of Zimbabwe. And to my brother, Dr. Mandaza, even if Chamisa was to stand aside, As long as we have got an electorate that is so ignorant, naive, and gullible, we are not out of the woods. Because another upstart will step forward and promise the people the same idiotic lies, and they will participate in flawed elections in their millions. As long as we have got a naive and gullible electorate who keep participating in these flawed elections, I believe Sadc will have no choice but to accept that this is what the people of Zimbabwe want. All this talk about Sadc, some people love to blame Sadc for everything that has happened in Zimbabwe. I think it is foolish, to say the very least. Sadc, credit where credit is due. Sadc are the ones who twisted Mugabe to participate to sign the global political agreement of 2008 to 2008, giving birth to the GNU of 2008 to 2018. Minister Lindiwe Zulu of South Africa did her best throughout the GNU to push MDC leaders to implement reforms, just that they ignored her. That is the truth. What else did you want her to do? At the end of the GNU, Sadc leaders had a meeting in Maputo where they literally begged Morgan Tsvangirai and company not to participate in the 2013 elections without first implementing reforms. The advice fell on deaf ears. And yet today, many Zimbabweans would want to blame Sadc. One of the common currency at the present moment is that Sadc election observer mission condemned last year's elections. Why didn't Sadc deny ZANU-PF legitimacy? If I was one of the Sadc leaders, I too would have found it very difficult to deny ZANU-PF political legitimacy for many reasons, and some of which are Zimbabweans participated in those elections in their millions. Didn't they know that the process is flawed? What else do they want to realize that the process is flawed? We can't keep on participating in flawed elections, particularly when you've been warned that the process is flawed. And then you pretend you didn't know. That is ridiculous. We really have to wake up and take responsibility for our destiny. That is the reality of it. In the present debate about Chamisa should leave politics and so forth, is not going to get us anywhere. Because I can rest assure you, another pretender will step in and tell the people the same idiotic lies, and they will believe it. And we are back where we started. What we need is an electorate that is educated, knowledgeable, and diligent in holding their leaders to account. At the present moment, the Zimbabwean electorate are far from it. And therefore, then it is not surprising that we have a nation that is in a serious mess. Zimbabwe is a failed state because Zimbabweans themselves, the Zimbabwean electorate, they've not taken their responsibility of becoming an educated, knowledgeable, and diligent electorate with the seriousness and urgency the matter demands. And unfortunately, we have got politicians like ZANU-PF, MDC, CCC, we have only been keen to take advantage of the ignorance and naivety of the electorate. As long as this pool of naive, ignorant electorate remains, nothing will change in Zimbabwe. Nothing. Thank you very much for those of you who were able to join and listen in. And have a good day.